This is Alex Jr. watching the Rage and Ruin Review. Today, I got two things to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is a bit of a rant. It's Transformers related, but all I really want to say is that I really like visiting two websites, and that's the Transformers live action movie Blogspot and TFW 2005. TFW 2005 been around a long time. I've been visiting the site since the very first movie, and it's really interesting to chat with people about speculation for the movie and just having some discussion about the movie. It's a really good community, but my rant is that there's some real idiots on that site, you know? I mean, these are people with a low post count who don't read the rules before they post a new thread, and that includes posting spoilers. I was on the forum today. I wanted to read up stuff about the movie and just read what people are saying. One of the threads, right in the title, it reveals a death. And he says spoiler at the end, but he could have worded it differently so that it doesn't actually tell you in the title who dies and who kills him. So I'm pretty pissed off about that. I really didn't want to know that. You know who you are if you're watching this video. I'm pissed because you not only ruined it for me, but you ruined it for other people. They should kick you off the board. There's less than 2 months left before this movie comes out, and you gave away a key plot point, and that really, I don't want to get carried away with how really frustrated I am, but this kind of stuff means a lot to me and to any fan. I'm just expressing my frustration out. That's why the Blogspot is good, because when they put spoilers, it says click here if you want to read more, but you've been warned. This idiot didn't even read the rules before he started posting. That thread should be deleted, and the guy should be banned, like, right now. The only spoilers that I'm curious about and really want to know are what Transformers characters are in it and what their alternate modes are. That's all I want to know. Everything else, I don't want to know about. That's all I have to say for my rant. Now, what I really want to talk about is Dinobots, specifically Dinobots in the live action movie. Now, Michael Bay didn't like the Dinobots. He said it just wouldn't work in the real world, and he just has absolutely no interest in putting them in. The way I felt about what he said, I agreed with him, because how do you put something like that is organic, like a dinosaur, into Michael Bay's universe? Because although we are talking about science fiction, fantasy, but in a way, he's trying to implement it into like as realistic as possible. So this is the most realistic version of a science fiction scenario. It just wouldn't work. But there are 3 ways to do it, and that is A, they could have like a protoform crash into a museum where they hold dinosaur bones, and then they could scan that, and somehow they would figure out what the dinosaur actually looks like, and they could morph into an actual dinosaur like a T-Rex or Brontosaurus, and then when it transforms into robot mode, it opens up and then it reveals it's an actual mechanical being, like an Autobot. You could do it like that. Or B, you can actually have the dinosaur mode is actually their Cybertronian mode. You see what I'm saying? That's their beast mode, like Scorponok. Scorponok's Cybertronian mode is a scorpion. So it can mean that the beast mode, the dinosaur mode, is actually what they are when they're in Cybertron, and when they're on Earth, they transform from a mechanical robot, and I'm talking about like Mechagodzilla-like, into a car. You see what I'm saying? That's the other way I would think it would work, and that's actually the more realistic way. So actually they wouldn't even have a robot mode. They'd have a T-Rex mode, a mechanical T-Rex, like Grimlock, transform straight into a vehicle. And that's how I think that would work. I'm actually all for that version better, because I think that's the most realistic form of how Dinobots would work. The other way would be that Autobots were on Earth 65 million years ago, and they've just been buried, and it's just like G1, where they just dig them up out of the ground, and they've always been like that to begin with. That's the only other way I would think it would work. So A, they crash land to a museum and then scan these dinosaurs and they have robot modes. Or B, they have beast modes from Cybertron, which transform into a car. Or C, they crash landed 65 million years ago, and they dug them up out of the ground, and there they are. Dinosaurs that transform into robots. What do you think? How do you think Dinobots could work in live action? Because I don't really agree with A, which is them crash landing into a museum, because it's just gonna look like Jurassic Park. We've seen this already. Think about it. Do we want dinosaurs roaming around the streets of LA or Chicago or New York or wherever, and they look exactly like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, but the only difference is that they transform into robots? Imagine how huge Sludge would be after he transforms into a robot mode from being a giant brontosaurus. He would just be this huge, towering robot, and he's just gonna take over the streets of the city. So I think that wouldn't work at all. I would go with the beast mode version where they don't have a robot mode. They only have a car mode and their dinosaur mode. But the dinosaur looks like a mecha version of itself, not an actual like dinosaur with skin. What do you think about all of this? How would you make it work if for a live action version of Dinobots? Because I still don't think it's a good idea, but if they had to make it work in any way, I think the second choice would be the only way, and that's not having robot modes. Anyways, that's all I have to say. I'm just gonna leave you with some Dinobot fan art. See if you can guess who that really is. I'm not gonna reveal which Dinobot is supposed to be, but leave it in the comment section below of who you think that Dinobot is. I think it's kind of obvious. Let's see if you know who it really is. Anyways, this is Alex Yoon. Thanks for watching the Rage and Rono review. Peace.